Hi, teachers. Welcome back. Last week of environmental justice. All right. Looking at plastics in the ocean. How can you be a champion of change? That being our school model once again. Okay. So this week we're looking at reduce, reuse, recycle, the three R's, all right, and practical solutions for this global problem. However, the three R's have been modernized. They are now the six R's of sustainability. So that's what we're going to really look at today and have the students identify the ways that they can implement them in their own lives. First video is about takeout. I don't know if you, but there's a lot of trash that comes with takeout and all the packaging and all the styrofoam and all the plastics. It's pretty interesting. Now, after you're done watching the video, I want you to have some discussion with the kids. Maybe you have a personal story or they have a story about the trash they received when they did a takeout. I know for myself, a few weeks ago, we had our friends over. They're a family of seven. We're a family of six. And we did Chinese takeout. When it was all said and done, we were done eating. My kitchen was loaded with trash. We had two full garbage bags just with the amount of plastics and styrofoams and just not usable stuff anymore. It was unreal. And after watching that movie a couple days later, I felt really convicted about how much waste there was. All right, from that 15-minute meal. It's pretty bad when you really consider it. Now, this slide here is a lot of reading. We actually want to encourage our students to read a little bit. So maybe find four volunteers that will be willing to read one paragraph each and just have them read out loud to the class, and then have a quick discussion about anything that jumped out that was interesting to you. Recycling. All right. Here in America, we know that China is no longer accepting our recyclables. So we need to come up with a way to recycle it ourselves. Human beings are really good at recycling. However, we get tired. We're not as fast as robots can be. We do make decisions faster than robots can. Um, we can process things faster than they can, but we just can't move as fast as they can. And we can't do it 24/7. So here is a way that engineers have designed a robotic system for cycling. It's really interesting in the process of how they went about doing that and the challenges that they overcame. It is long, but it's really interesting. Next is just a picture of the inside of a recycling plant. This is not trash. This is just recycling. Maybe have a minute to talk about. It's interesting how complicated and intricate it is just to recycle plastics. There's a lot of processes that go into it. It's an enormous challenge that engineers have to overcome. Now, I know aluminum cans are not plastic. However, it does come along the lines of recycling. And it's interesting that there are 4 billion cans of soda cans, soft drinks that are used every week in the world. 4 billion a week. How do we recycle those? The nice thing about aluminum is 100% recyclable. So we should never throw aluminum in the trash. This video here is 15 minutes long. You do not need to watch this. This is an optional one. However, if you have time, if you feel like things are going quickly and you got time left, watch this video. It's about how trash, garbage, or not just recyclables, garbage can be turned into energy through a process called gasification. Bridgeport actually has one of these plants. When you're driving down 95 South in the middle of Bridgeport, when you look left and you see the Long Island Sound, there's actually a big factory, right, that's got steam coming out of it. It's actually this here. It's actually a gasification plant. They take garbage and they burn it, but they don't just put a fire on it and burn it because that makes a lot of carbon dioxide, a lot of carbon monoxide, and pollution. They actually do this process called gasification, where they heat it up until the items turn into gas themselves, and then they burn that gas. And it's much cleaner. It's pretty interesting. A short little clip on what are the 6 R's for sustainability, identifying them and telling you what they mean. And then a slide for you to discuss the old versus the new. All right, we grew up knowing the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, but now with the 6 R's, what's changed? We have the repair. Maybe talk about, hey, when you have a broken item, instead of just throwing the trash and getting a new one, can you fix that item? There are glues out there specifically designed for plastic. All right, can you fix those things? Rethinking. Can you repurpose a plastic into something else? Like my 2-liter soda bottles. Whenever I have those, I cut them in half and I turn the bottom into a funnel for filling up the oil in my car, for filling up the gasoline in my lawnmowers. All right, I turn them into a funnel. Or sometimes I even took a plastic orange juice container, stabbed a bunch of holes in it, because when I when I drain the water out of my pool, like when there's on top of the cover, there's leaves and garbage up there. Not garbage, but just leaves and all kinds of sediment up there in the springtime, and it gets stuck in the hose and plugs it when I'm trying to siphon it out. So I actually took this plastic bottle and duct taped it to the end of my hose and threw that into the water, and it acts like a filter, a strainer, to keep the big junk out of the hose from plugging it up. So I was able to repurpose that. And then lastly, refuse. Can you just say no to accepting certain plastics? Like when I went to the Chinese takeout, what I could have done is say, hey, I don't need the little soy sauce packet and ketchup packets. I already have ketchup at home. I already have soy sauce at home, so I don't need those little plastic packets. I don't need the plastic silverware because I already have metal silverware at home. So can you simply just say no to accepting certain things, just to reduce the amount that you have? On one of our last slides here, we have some companies that are pushing a big initiative to go green, to have a smaller carbon footprint, to have less waste. Like Apple, okay, their goal is to make their phones 100% recyclable. They can either reuse them, repurpose them, or recycle the parts that are inside of them one day. IKEA is making a vow that all of their packaging will be recyclable. So you can't throw, anytime you get a box from them, 100% of that styrofoam packaging, the cardboard packaging can be recycled. And there's a bunch of others here. Have the students spend 5 minutes clicking on these links and exploring what companies are doing. Maybe they know of a different company that's got a big initiative. Have them go look it up, then come back and have a time of sharing. Let the students share what they've read about other companies and what they're trying to do. Now, this week here is the challenge, the last challenge for plastics. Okay, so part one, there's two parts to this. Continue to use the Literati app and clean up. Okay, then you have two. So for part two, they have two choices. All right, but they must pick one and post it on Google Classroom. So option one, take your trash and turn it into something else. So upcycle it, repurpose it. All right, be creative. All right, take a picture of what they've created with their plastic recyclables and put it in the Google Classroom. But they have to describe what they did. Okay. Or option two, collect all your plastics for 1 week in a garbage bag. Clean it obviously before you put it in the bag so it doesn't go moldy or rotten. Okay. And take a photo of all the plastic you've used and that you've touched that you've now put in the trash after 1 week. So like those guys who put the trash all over them for 1 week, just collect it all, put it in a bag, and at the end of the week, lay it out in a cool format and take a picture of all of it in like a little collage and put that in Google Classroom. So two parts to this week's challenge. Use the Literati app for one. Two, pick one of these two options and post it in Google Classroom. All right. And with that, that's all, folks. Have a great day. You've done a wonderful job teaching these 6 lessons on environmental justice with plastics. Next week, we'll be looking at global warming.